Namaste Krishna Rao, welcome to IYR Talks in English edition. Today again we will discuss on one of the points which we were discussing in our earlier IYR Talks also about the Russia-Ukraine peace plan. Recently last week President Trump had put a proposal before Zelensky to accept the peace proposal, and I think he has given about a 28-point plan to Zelensky, and then he said Russia is unnecessarily pressurizing USA to come to a peace process by surrendering their part of their rights, and he said that's not acceptable to him. So this being the case, and America is threatening, if you don't accept to this point of plan, we will stop all support, and then you have to face the music from the Russia side. So this is a threatening warning by Trump to Ukraine, and Zelensky is asking all the Ukrainians to stand behind him to fight against these designs of America and Russia. So what do you think, whether this peace process will go and work out, and because this is a thing that is happening, continuing for the last 2 to 3 years time, and no standpoint, no end is coming to this particular war. So even though there are peace talks and all that, Russia and both of them are fighting against each other. In fact, there are, and Ukraine, because it is financially starved, now they are asking support from other countries also to support them and all that. How do you think about this process and last week's development?
Actually, did Ukraine commit a big mistake by not negotiating and settling the issue in the initial stages itself with Russia? Because there is nothing they are getting greater than what they could have settled with Russia in the beginning itself. In fact, they will be now losing a substantial portion of their own territory, which is Russian speaking territory, which Russia has occupied and is not willing to leave. And you are not going to be a member of NATO. So the aspiration of Zelensky or Ukraine to become a member of NATO is not fulfilled. You have lost part of your territory which you wouldn't have lost if you got into a agreement with Russia in the beginning itself without the involvement of the West and the America. In fact, this would go down in history as a classic case of becoming a guinea pig or a scapegoat for the Western and the American powers. Seeing them, Ukraine has got into an unequal fight with Russia, which they could never have won. And it went on for 3 years. Lot of destruction. Infrastructure is damaged. Lot of lives were lost. And finally, what is it coming to? It's coming to square one. You are entering into an agreement where you are denied the membership of NATO. Part of your land is taken over by Russia, and that's it. Even now, I would say it would be better for Ukraine to directly negotiate and settle it with Russia rather than to involve America and Western Europe. That's not going to give them any additional benefit. In the initial stage itself, what did Russia want? Russia told, when Russian USSR, Soviet Socialist Republic, was breaking up during the time of Gorbachev, they wanted an assurance from the West that NATO will not be expanded, because NATO was established as a force to counter Russia. When USSR, let's say USSR, when USSR itself is crumbling, when the Eastern League, what was known as the Warsaw Pact, is no longer there, why do you continue with NATO and also expand it to the east to other countries? At that time, they gave them an assurance it will not be expanded. Contrary to the assurance, one by one, they started taking Eastern European countries as members of the NATO. They wanted to take Ukraine also as a member of NATO. Ukraine was also willing to join. That's when Russia got irritated. You can't get NATO right onto our doorstep. if you really want to do that, take us also in, because after all, Russia is not in a position nor in a mood to fight with NATO. So why not expand the NATO to include Russia also? That was a very, very fair request from them, which the West did not want. So naturally they had to fight, and after the fight, this is what is happening. Second thing, the Ukraine leadership also stands exposed. Lot of corruption scandals, and Zelensky is not the best person to rule that country. And of course, once the elections are there, he will also go out. I mean, instead of fighting for so long and achieving nothing, either in the beginning or the end, the whole thing can be solved directly talking into Russia, leaving these people aside who only made Ukraine a guinea pig, and tried to get their objectives, and their fight with Russia fought through Ukraine. Second thing, Russian assets. They want to now use the Russian assets to finance reconstruction of Ukraine. I mean, you are the ones who spurred them to go for fighting against Russia. I mean, we don't know how Russia would react to that. If they don't agree for it and reject it, maybe the war will still go on. That's a possibility. Ukraine has no choice. They will have to fall in line. But Russia can still refuse. But if they refuse also, they will be in serious trouble economically because of the sanctions. Let us see where it goes. In all probability, I think it will come to an end, which is a good thing for the world. More for India.
Everyone is praying for a peaceful end for this a prolonged war between these two countries, because the world economy direction depends on the peace process that is being taken between the Russia and Ukraine, so that everything comes to a better development and all that. Thank you.